Have you ever stood at the edge of a vast ocean, your dreams shimmering on the horizon, only to feel the weight of your own feet rooting you to the shore? You tell yourself you'll swim tomorrow, when the water is warmer, when the sky is clearer, when you're stronger, but tomorrow becomes a tide that never quite rolls in. This is the paradox of being human. We yearn for greatness, yet so often cling to the familiar ache of inertia. It's a struggle as old as time, but buried within ancient wisdom lies a map to cross that ocean. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young monk named Ananda, who lived in a monastery nestled among mist-covered mountains. Each morning, he rose before dawn to chant, meditate, and tend to the temple gardens. To the outside eye, his life was a portrait of discipline. But Ananda carried a secret. He felt like an imposter. His mind wandered during meditation. His hands hesitated when pruning the bonsai trees. He dreamed of composing poetry that would capture the essence of the Dharma. But every time he picked up a brush, the blank page seemed to mock him. What if my words are clumsy? He'd think. What if I fail? The brush would clatter back onto the desk, and he'd retreat to sweeping already spotless floors, his heart heavy with shame. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the peaks, Ananda approached the monastery's eldest teacher, Elder Thubten. He was known for his laughter, which rang like wind chimes, and his uncanny ability to see the storms inside people's souls. I'm trapped, Ananda confessed, kneeling on the bamboo floor. I want to serve the Dharma, but I can't even master my own mind. I'm lazy. Elder Thubten poured him a cup of tea, steam curling into the silence. Ah, he said finally, his eyes crinkling. You mistake the map for the territory. Ananda blinked. I don't understand. You've heard the Buddhist teachings on the middle way? Yes? The path between indulgence and asceticism. He waited for his nod. But have you ever considered that the middle way isn't just about what you do? It's about how you approach what feels impossible. He gestured to the teacup. If I asked you to empty the ocean with this, you'd laugh. Yet every time you fixate on the entirety of your dreams, you're trying to drink the sea. No wonder you're thirsty. Here's the thing about laziness. It's rarely a lack of will. It's a mismatch of scale. The brain, that ancient survival machine, recoils from anything that feels like a threat, and the massive, undefined task triggers the same panic as a prowling tiger. The Buddha knew this. He didn't sit beneath the Bodhi tree and think, today, I'll solve all suffering. He simply vowed to stay until he understood one truth, one breath, one moment. Elder Thubten taught Ananda to break his poetry into fragments. A single line about the way light pooled on the temple steps. A haiku about the sound of rain in the bamboo grove. No grand odes, no pressure, just words, tiny and imperfect, like stepping stones. At first, Ananda bristled. This isn't real work, he protested. But Elder Thubten chuckled. Is a seedling not a tree? You're building a habit, not a monument. So he tried. 1 line a day. Some days, the words flowed. Others, they clunked like stones. But slowly, a shift occurred. The blank page lost its terror. The act of beginning became a ritual, a tiny altar to courage. This is the alchemy of smallness. In the Pali Canon, the Buddha teaches that even the mightiest river begins with a single drop of rain. We forget this. We fixate on the river's roar, not the patience of the rain. Ananda's poetry notebook filled, not with masterpieces, but with honest, trembling fragments. And in those fragments, something stirred. Yet habits, like temple bells, need rhythm to resonate. Elder Thubten knew this too. He nudged Ananda to anchor his writing to a daily cue. The first sip of morning tea. The moment his fingers touched the brush. Routines are the body's prayer, he said. They whisper to the mind, this is who we are now. But here's where the dance deepens. Willpower is a flame, bright but fleeting. The Buddha's disciples didn't meditate for hours through sheer grit. They sculpted their days into vessels for mindfulness. Ananda began laying out his inkstone each night, so mornings greeted him with an invitation, not a decision. No drama, no debate, just a brush, waiting. Of course, some dawns, resistance surged. On those days, Elder Thubten taught him the two-breath rule. Sit, he said. Breathe in, I am here. Breathe out, I begin. If you stop after 2 breaths, so be it. But often, starting is the only door you need. Ananda discovered he was right. The act of sitting, of breathing with intention, often unraveled the knot in his chest. A haiku would tumble out. Then another. The pages grew thick. Now, let's pause here. You might think this is a story about productivity hacks wrapped in saffron robes. It's not. It's about something far more radical. The Buddhist concept of unattainable, or non-self. Laziness isn't an identity. It's a pattern, a ripple in the mind stream. When Ananda stopped seeing himself as lazy and started seeing his habits as conditioned responses, everything changed. He couldn't hate himself into transformation, but he could tend to his actions, moment by moment, like a gardener pulling weeds to make space for blossoms. This is the heart of the Dharma, impermanence. Every moment is a chance to begin anew. Ananda's poetry became a mirror, reflecting his inner landscape. Some days clear, some days stormy, but always changing. He learned to bow to both. Years later, when visitors asked to read his work, Ananda would smile and hand them a single page. This is today's poem, he'd say. Tomorrow's hasn't arrived yet. So what's the takeaway here? It's simple, though not easy. Your dreams aren't waiting for a better version of you. They're waiting for you who's brave enough to take the smallest step. The Buddha didn't reach enlightenment by vanquishing Mara in a single blow. He did it by staying present, breath by breath, as the demon's illusions dissolved around him. You want to write? Write 1 sentence. You want to meditate? Sit for 1 breath. You want to change? Start before you're ready. The universe is built on quarks and whispers. Why should your journey be any different? And when you stumble, because you will, remember the Zen proverb, the obstacle is the path. Each resistance, each moment of doubt, is part of the dance. Don't wage war on your inertia. Study it. Be curious. Ask, what is this teaching me? In the end, Ananda never became a famous poet, but his verses adorned the monastery walls, tender and unpolished, reminding all who read them that greatness isn't a destination. It's the sum of every tiny, trembling yes. As the candle flame depends on the wick, so your dreams depend on your willingness to kindle them day after day, not with grand gestures, but with the humble discipline of return. So here's my question for you. What's your 1 sentence today? Your 1 breath? Your 1 step into the waves? The ocean isn't waiting for you to conquer it. It's waiting for you to dip your toes in and discover you were made of water all along. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing to the channel. Together, let's keep turning the page.